Hello everybody, how are you doing? Happy Sunday. It is so nice to be back in the flow of this. I hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a lovely week. If you are listening to this on a Sunday, I hope you've got a lovely week that you're about to go into. Whenever you're listening to this, I hope life is treating you well. I hope you are good. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Life's Your Bitch, the podcast where we're figuring it out, all right? We're changing the narrative. We're trying to figure out and navigate our 20s. And I'm here to do it with you, here on the journey. Welcome to the first proper episode, I feel like, of the new season. And I feel like today's episode is so fitting. I feel like let's just encapsulate what we're all probably feeling and thinking if you too are in your 20s. Although I also feel like this just applies at like any stage of life, kind of like in any stage of life as well. Whether it's the full journey of life or just this little moment, or even sometimes like your GCSEs or your A-levels, or I can imagine sometimes this even applies in like your 30s and your 40s, wherever this is finding you. I'm sure there is many times where you felt like you're not where you're supposed to be, whatever that means. But before we get into the bulk of today's episode, let's talk about 3 things that I am grateful for. As always, I encourage you to stop and reflect and also think of 3 things. This is not just me sharing my gratitude with you. This is me hoping that you take a minute to reflect on your own as well. But mine are as follows. Number 1, peak marathon training. I can't believe I'm saying these words. Is officially over for me. Is officially over. To be honest, when you're listening to this, the marathon is kind of right around the corner. I think it's going to be like 2 weeks away, but for me right now, peak marathon training is officially over, which just feels incredible. I'm sure, will I do an episode on the marathon? Do people care about that? Let me know. Let me know if you do want a podcast kind of like rundown of the marathon. I'll probably end up doing it as a YouTube video, to be honest, so I can like vlog the race and stuff, but I'm sure in later episodes of the season we'll talk about it. In a nutshell, the training has been hellish, also not really that bad whatsoever at all. Also like one of the best things I've ever done. Like it's really funny, like the individual runs have obviously been hellish, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a couple of bad hours. It's like a bad hour a week because the whole run isn't bad. It's just like a really bad 40 minutes sometimes in those long runs. So when you zoom out, you're like, it's actually been fine because like what is being uncomfy for a couple of hours a week? But really it's been really quite difficult, but it's also really not been. It's also been great. It's also been the best thing ever. But I am very glad that the 34k is done. The peak is over. We are officially coming back down in distance now. And I did it yesterday actually when I'm filming this, and I surprisingly feel really quite fine. Really quite great actually. I felt way worse after my 29, which is just ridiculous because we did it slower. It was like, ugh, I don't know. But I actually really don't feel that bad today. But I'm very grateful for getting through it and that peak being done now. Can't say I'll be doing this again, even though it has been the best thing I've ever done. Number 2, I'm really grateful for my girls. I'm really grateful for my friends. And although that is cliche, predictable, not niche whatsoever, as you all know, probably, if you are new here, hi, please make yourself known to the group. So glad that you found us. I moved to Manchester. I mean, it's been a while now, Megan. I need to leave behind this narrative. 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago. Is it 3? No. January of 2023. So 2 years ago. And I didn't know anyone. I knew Tia, who has since up and left. She lives in Essex now, so she's not here anymore. And although those 2 years have not been the smoothest of sailing, I've made friends, become distant with friends, not like been in and out of like friendship groups. I am so grateful for my friends that I do have. I just feel like, also if anyone else is like this, I think this is so normal. I have friends everywhere in Manchester, like good friends in Manchester. I can count on one hand. Like I really don't have many people around me, but the people I do have are great. But I also am so lucky that I've got friends that I would really consider like best friends everywhere. I've got Gabby at home, I've got Amy and other people at home, and I've got like even the girls that I met in Croatia, like the amount we talk to each other, and like they're planning another visit. Me and the uni girls really have been awful at keeping contact and seeing each other, but like I know if I needed them, they would be there. I've got friends. I'm so lucky that I feel like I've got such a wide spread of people, which does make it hard sometimes to stay in contact with everybody. And sometimes, you know, I make mistakes, and it's been weeks since I've spoke to some people, but that's okay, because I do feel like the friends that I am talking about get it. And although of course I would love to be talking to all of my friends every day, that's not realistic. Again, kind of going back into this podcast like episode and idea of the whole thing. Another thing that sometimes you just feel like behind with. But yeah, I really am so grateful for the friends I do have. Like Gabby is coming up to spend the whole week in Manchester, which is my home friend. And I was like, just come and stay with me for a bit. Like, we'll have fun. You can like hang out with my friends. We'll do whatever. We'll go here. We'll go there. Because she's feeling a bit like, yeah, at home. And we've got plans on plans on Wednesday night with my friends, and then Thursday with these other friends that I really wanted to meet, Emily and Lily, who again, we don't see each other a lot, but my God, am I just so grateful for them, the type of person they make me, the conversations they bring out of me. I just love them so much. I'm so excited for Gabby to meet them. And it just made me think like, oh my God, in like 2 days, I will have spent so much time with so many people that I really love. And that is just great. And I'm feeling really grateful for that. I am going to be British. I do think I said this last time. Honestly, if I did, I'm sorry. The clocks went forward technically, actually, didn't they? It is so sunny, guys. I'm actually currently filming this at 6:15, and it is blue skies, sunny. Normally I film this podcast in a pitch black room and I just have my lights on so that it looks pink and luscious, but like it's so bright outside that the light is coming in, but I'm not mad at it. It's so nice to be able to go for a walk after work and chill in the sunshine. It is fantastic. Anyway, let's move on to the bulk of the episode, I suppose. So like I said, if you've ever felt like you're not where you're supposed to be, whether it's your career, your finances, your love life, or just an overall sense of what the hell am I doing, this episode is for you. But here's my question. Are you actually behind, or is society just gaslighting you? Is society just making you feel like you are? Because let's be real, there is an invisible checklist that we've all decided to follow once upon a time: to graduate, to get a job, to fall in love, to buy a house, to get married, to have kids, and all by some made up deadlines that were probably, if you're anything like me, set for yourself when you were like 16. I was actually on the phone with my mum the other day and she was like, remember when you used to say that you wanted kids by 24? And I was like, babe, that is in a month. Don't talk to me about that. There's no way. We had no concept of time and age when we were that young, but yet we still feel like we need to somewhat follow them. Obviously, I do not feel the pressure now to have kids by the time I'm 24, but I definitely have some other expectations that I definitely thought I would have had by now. Like if I thought I was going to have kids, I definitely thought I would be in love and ring on my finger and this, that and the other. But again, you have no concept really of age and time. But that feeling still lingers, and suddenly you kind of feel like you're failing. But let's break this down. What's real? What's outdated? And how do we actually find our own path in life? I am going to go a bit data heavy on you in this episode in advance, so I am a bit sorry, but your girl's got some stats to hopefully help you chill the fuck out. And when we do get to that point, I apologise in advance because the dyslexia will take over. But let's get into it. First things first, where the heck in hell are we getting these ideas from and these expectations from? And why do we feel like we're falling behind? Obviously, to start with, a lot of it comes from past generations, nothing profound here. Our parents, our grandparents, even our older siblings sometimes grew up in a time where the path to success was a lot more straightforward. Even though your siblings are obviously normally relatively like in the same generation, same age as you, I know full well that my oldest brother, for example, there was definitely more job opportunities straight out of uni. I know I'm obviously lucky enough that I never had to do that, but like still watching some of my friends struggle to get a job 3 years out of grad life is absolutely insane. And I just know my brother now, he's how old? That for him, it was nearly 3 years ago for him now, me now. So it was 9 years ago for him. It was so easy. Like, it wasn't so easy, obviously. You still had to get a job, you still had to interview. I'm not saying that, but like, there definitely was more job opportunity. So sometimes even that 7-5 year gap in siblings can actually make such a difference. So just looking at the people around you, obviously you're going to form these expectations. But yeah, they grew up at a time where success was way more straightforward. You went to school, you came straight out and you got a stable job. You probably stayed in that job forever was much more normal, and definitely our parents' generations. Like, you definitely hear people be like 50 years in this company until retirement. Got probably married in their early 20s. My parents were well and truly married by the time they were my age for a good couple of years. Bought a house well before 30 and built a family. Bish, bash, bloody bosh. Doesn't that sound nice and easy? Or, to be honest, completely Yawnsville, depends which way you look at it, their book wouldn't be very interesting to read. And that is something me and my friend Tia always say. But it was a completely different world. As well as the simple answer of learning from our parents and people before us, of course, again, nothing completely profound, but I do definitely have, I think, a take that some people might not think of: social media. And unfortunately, I definitely play a part in this. I am what you would consider an influencer, I guess. But yes, as we all know, again, nothing profound. We have a silly amount of access to a silly amount of people's lives. Apparently, 63% of the population use social media daily, an average of 2 hours and 21 minutes a day. Firstly, that's kind of as wild as it is. But let's assume, and I'm being modest, half of those post regularly. And apparently I've seen nearly 10% of those count as influencers. 10% of those, as it worded it, sway purchasing decisions. So you could consider them influencers. That is huge. That is a huge amount of people that are already on social media that have this swaying potential, whether it's your decisions or your mindset or just have this influence over your life. That is an insane amount of people. You're only supposed to know what your mates are up to. Again, nothing new there. But I want to talk to you about the success and almost relatability piece of influencers, if you will. I think let's clear it out the way. My situation, because my situation is not normal, and I don't want people to listen to this episode and be like, I don't know, think I'm trying to be relatable in areas that I'm not or whatever. I very, very, very luckily and somehow own this gorgeous flat that I live in. A good over 50% of my deposit was gifted by my parents. I would not have been in the position to do this at this age whatsoever. That is a very privileged position. I am so incredibly fortunate and grateful, and that is not a normal position. So in terms of me talking about people my age being able to buy a house, yes, I do have this flat, but I never, ever, 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 ever would have been in this position if it was me and my own savings. So if at any point I talk about the fact that I couldn't do that or it's not relatable, I know I own my flat, but it's not something I personally would have been able to do. So just almost like a, disclaimer. If I slip up, that's my situation. So I talk about things not being relatable or not being able to do the same at any point in this. If I get too into it and I get too passionate, that's my disclaimer in terms of that. Anyway, we see influencers buying houses. Yes, I was like, and let's just say this, if you're new here, that was my disclaimer. Anyway. It feels like, and I think this is why sometimes we feel like we're so much more behind than we are. Hear me out. I think this isn't profound, no. Well, I actually kind of think it might be. I don't think it's something people really, really, really sit and think with and think about, like, the psychology behind this. It feels like one day you're watching your new favourite influencer you found. They gain so much momentum because they are so relatable and everybody loves them. Ironically, this makes them now so unrelatable. And before your eyes, literally within the year, they've bought a house and they're doing things that you could only dream of. Now, although we understand now just how much some influencers can make, And although we understand now just how much some influencers can make, it still makes you think, fucking hell, what am I doing? And also an element of like, wow, that's so frustrating. Because you have watched someone who you thought you could relate to. It's almost like the Olivia Neal effect. Everybody loved Olivia Neal. She's a girl in Belfast. She was doing her A-levels. She was going out on St. Paddy's Day. She was doing this, that and the other. She was living obviously in her parents' house. She's doing her A-levels. She was a normal girl doing normal stuff. She was so very relatable. And the amount of people that could relate to her suddenly made her one of the most like unrelatable people on the internet, because she, in terms of her lifestyle, because ironically, the amount of people that, do you know what I mean, were attracted to that was what pushed her to getting gifted Chanel bags. And like, she owns like a house in Ireland and a house in London, and I think she owns some more, and no hate whatsoever. I love her. But I just mean, it's a classic example of people hooking onto someone that's really, really relatable, and then rightfully so, not feeling like they are relatable anymore, but that's what kind of got them there. And I think sometimes we forget almost that piece, and that's why it feels like you are so behind, because all of the people that you found on social media that you found because you could relate to are now, if you will, so many steps above you, in quotation marks, in what feels like a matter of time, and like what just feels like it's happened before your eyes and so quickly. And I don't know if I'm making any sense there, but I think sometimes we forget just how much money and just how many people are watching these people that you once found so relatable. So your feed is suddenly flooded with people that were relatable to people that are now buying houses. And again, it's that percent of people on your For You page that are doing it that makes you feel like everybody is, when really that is the top 1%, and that is a couple people. But because you once upon a time so heavily related to these people, they're now all over your feed, and at the end of the day, it's their job to post these things. So they're posting, they're talking, and I don't know if I'm making any sense. A point that feels so profound, I now feel like I cannot articulate. But I don't know, I think hopefully you get my point. When I'm talking about social media, I'm not just talking about simply how many people you're seeing and influencers making money and just living a different lifestyle, being able to buy houses, being able to do all these other things. I think the idea of watching so many people go from A to B so fast can be mentally exhausting, like can be draining, and can make you feel so much worse because you could once relate to them and now you really can't. And in that split second, I think we forget about the huge middle piece that they've obviously just, their life has changed overnight. And as much as that is absolutely insane for them, and I'm not taking anything away from that, I think it's really incredible that social media has given especially so many young women the chance to earn so much money and provide an amazing life for themselves is incredible. There's not really another industry that gives so many young women such an amazing chance. It can leave the consumer feeling pretty rubbish. I'm going to stop talking about that point because I'm going to do that Megan thing where I really, really over-explain it and like I'm not saying anything new. Let's go on to the stats portion of this video. So I can show you how not normal that is and how your algorithm is just feeding you people like this, because the more you linger, the more you watch, the more it's going to feed it to you. Anyway, let's start with the one you're probably all feeling like you're most behind on. The average age of a first-time home buyer in the UK is, drum roll please, 33 and a half years old. 33 and a half years old. So if you are 24, feeling like you should own a house already, please breathe. Please relax. The housing market is literally not built for us the way it was in past generations. The average age of marriage is 33 for a woman and 35 for a man. The whole married by 25 thing, I feel like it's not something that we cling on to that much as a generation. Like, I don't think that is necessarily what people are feeling behind on. I think people can feel behind on like being single and like not being there, but the actual act of being married, I think people think less and less about. But yeah, that's just not the reality for us anymore. In fact, people meet their first spouse, is that the word, at 27, but those who meet and marry later then tend to have a lower divorce rate compared to those who marry and meet younger. I think we see people getting married or moving in together or getting engaged and low-key forget, sorry to be a negative Nancy, that they still might not be right for each other. There is literally no such thing as behind. You could be single until you're 35. You could have never had a relationship before until you're 35. Get married, have kids, all so quick because you're so in love, and be together forever. Your mate might get married at 28, come 40, they're divorced and unhappy, and now she's quote unquote behind. There is literally no right way to do this. There is no path. There is no someone's in front, someone's behind. You never know what is around the corner for you at any moment, and there is no right order, there is no right way. And I think sometimes we forget that just because it feels like someone has it all at any moment, and I really don't mean this in a negative way, but you forget that that can also, this is quite negative, go at any point, which I just think is important to keep in mind when you're looking at people and like idolizing them so much. Like, you have no idea, I think is just what I'm trying to say, what's going on in their life. They could be engaged and have a house but be so unhappy and not have like family around them, and you could have family around them. You've taken so many years to find out what you want in your career, you've taken time to travel, you've taken time to grow, so you feel like you are behind, but they might wish that they had the time you had to do their inner child work and to heal and to grow, and they've not had that because they've been busy building. So who's to say which one of you is right and which one of you is more successful or further forward in life than them? You are just two completely different people on two completely different paths, and you are not supposed to be doing what they are doing, and vice versa. Like, the universe has got your back at all times. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's a negative view, but I also don't, because it's actually a view that really, really helps me when I look at someone and I'm like, oh, they've got it all together. I'm like, you literally don't know. Like, you actually have no idea what's going on in their lives and if what you think they've got together is going to last. And that could be around the corner for you. And it could not be around the corner for you. It could be years and years and years away. But when you finally get it, it might be everything you've wished for. So, I don't know. Helpful, negative, you decide. Okay, similarly to houses, finance and savings, because they obviously kind of come hand in hand. Everyone's like, I could never buy a house because I don't have savings. I don't have the finances for it. I know I have pals that really, really, really struggle with this one. The average savings for a 25 to 34-year-old adult, I don't know why I wrote adult, that is an adult, is between 2 to 9k. So how are we buying that house again? The cost he lives is so high. Do not feel like you're behind in life because you don't have savings, you don't have investments, and this, that, and the other. As much as it is so obviously important to build financial independence, especially as a woman, and they urge you so much to learn and take courses. Female Invest is a wonderful platform to learn about savings and how you don't need so much money to start. You need £10 to start. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be saving and it's okay if you've got no money and all of this. Times are just so different, and the way we have to learn to manage our money and what to do with our money is completely different. Our parents used to be able to save a little bit, buy a house, but the barrier to entry on that now is just so huge. So that is not always the best thing to be saving for and the best thing to be investing in, because the barrier to entry is just massive. So £10 a month, £20 a month, £50, £100, whatever you've got into an ISA, into stocks and shares, into bonds, is so much more valuable, will go so much further. But also, if you have decided to go travelling, or you weren't feeling fulfilled and happy in your parents' house, and you decided that moving out and renting was what was going to help you and was what was good for your mental, or equally, if you have done really well for yourself and you've got loads of savings, like all of these things are okay. And like I've said, your time will come, and I really do believe that you'll all be absolutely okay and we will figure it out. So I'm not saying like, don't worry about your savings and be blissfully unaware, but I am saying whatever stage you're at, I trust that you've done what is right for you in that moment. And you might save up loads of money and then go and quote unquote blow it on traveling, come back, feel like you're behind, but you've gained so much incredible life experience that some people could only dream of, and again might end up saving and saving and saving for to do after they're retired. So it's like right now you feel like you're behind because you, who knows, are like 26 and haven't started a quote unquote career yet, so you feel like you're behind. But then those people you're going to meet in your new job when you do get it are going to feel so behind because they don't have the experience you do, and they might say spend their whole working life saving to do what you've already done after retirement. Again, completely different path, completely different story, completely different timings, and two people comparing themselves to each other. There's literally no such thing. I think we forget that like life is long, like, oh, life is short, you never know. So true. But life is also the longest thing that anyone's ever experienced. You quite literally have enough time. Although I believe in like living every day, it's like it's your last and blah, 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 blah. I actually believe the key to that is just making sure that you have a good day every day and feeling fulfilled. In terms of comparing and rushing life choices and all of this, you have time. Having that mindset and worrying like that is going to get you nowhere. As long as you're enjoying your day to day and feeling fulfilled, which we'll get onto, that is all we can ask. There is no point going around in life feeling like you don't have enough time, because it's quite literally the longest thing that you will ever experience as a person. And when you look at these numbers, you really start realising the timelines and pressures that we've put on ourselves to follow just aren't realistic anymore, and the people you're comparing yourself to are not the norm, even though it feels like it's everybody on social media and everybody you know. It's really, really not. Those people who don't have it, they're not the 10% swaying purchasing decisions. They're not the 10% posting every single second of their life. It's the ones that do that are, and I think that is so incredibly important to remember. They are flooding your feed because it's quite literally their job. And like I said, I'm not shitting on them. I think it's so incredible. I absolutely love watching it. But just remember that, because it is really hard to not compare yourself. So instead of trying to follow a timeline that just isn't made for us, how do we figure out our version of success, aka happiness in the modern day world? First of all, let's remember, like I said, life is short and precious, yes, but it's also the longest thing. Literally the longest thing ever. And while I, like I said, do believe that we should all be living to our fullest, I also want you to chill out because you do have so much time. So number one, let's redefine what success looks like for you. Really, really, really think about it. What do you want? What makes sense for you? If you couldn't tell anybody, if you couldn't post the keys, you couldn't post the job promotion, you couldn't post the traveling, what would you do? What would you be doing? If nobody cared, if nobody could validate you, what kind of life would fulfill you? What kind of life would you wake up every day bouncing out of bed for? That is what you should be striving for in this moment. That might be saving for a house, because it's my dream to have a house that I love and renovate and like put my own stamp on and build from scratch. That might just get you bouncing out of bed to work extra hours and have side hustles. And if that is what's going to make you feel alive, you fucking go for it. If working in a bar in different countries all across the world, different countries every month, is what is going to make you jump out of bed in the morning, knowing that you are not tied anywhere and you can go wherever you want, whenever you want, and work in different bars and different cafes and meet different people, great. If you live in your hometown and you love being by your family, and the gratitude of being by the ones you love every single day is so important to you, and you love your school friends and you love that everybody around you has the same upbringing and you can all relate on different levels to people that you would meet elsewhere, and you just love that comfy, cozy life, that is incredible. All of those things in one way or another give me goosebumps, and I'm sure that is probably what is the hard part. They all sound incredible. How do you know which one to go for? Try them out. You literally, like I said, you have so much time. Maybe you get a job that you're really passionate about, and then you save for a few months and you go traveling, and then you go traveling and you realize this is what I want, or you realize actually bouncing from job to job, although I have this freedom to be wherever I want in the world, doesn't fulfill me, because I am quite career driven and I do like having a purpose and making a difference, and I really enjoy working. Then that's great. Now you know that. Maybe you stay in your hometown and then you realize actually, as much as I'm so grateful for my family and I love my home friends so much and I understand the benefit of being here, I really want to push myself out of my comfort zone and meet new people. Maybe you go and you hate it and you come back. Literally the only way you're going to know is to really sit and reflect with yourself, but also to try those things and to be really honest with yourself within those experiences. And again, say you couldn't tell anyone, say nobody knew. Did you enjoy being in that environment? Did that fulfill you? It's okay if what you once deemed successful, if really upon reflection, it doesn't fulfill you. That is so okay. And actually it's so great that you now know that, and you can now move on and you can do different things and you can try different things. It is so important to create yourself. It's not about finding yourself. It's about like creating the life that you love so much every day. You also need to stop measuring your worth by external milestones. Your happiness isn't tied to a relationship status, to a job title, or to a mortgage. It is how fulfilled you feel in your everyday life. Like I said, it is about all of those little moments in between. It's about finding the coffee that you love with the milk you love and the breakfast you love and a walk to work that you so dearly love and friends that you feel so grateful for, and practicing that gratitude for all of those little things in your life, because those relationship status, that engagement ring, that wedding, that job title, that mortgage, that I've just named 4 days in your whole entire grand life, that is not going to give you fulfillment and purpose and happiness. Maybe purpose doesn't mean anything to you, but happiness definitely does. And waiting for those like 4, 5, 6 days in your life that you think are gonna bring you what you want, they're not. Something that I love saying and thinking about at the moment is a goal is not a place to get to. A goal is not something to work towards. It's an example of how you want to start living. If your goal is to be someone that travels regularly and does XYZ, of course you need money, and I'm not naive to that, but it's a way to start practicing. Maybe you go to a new town every weekend for where you live and you explore and you travel and you adventure places around you that you've not been to yet. You practice that lifestyle, you practice that adventurous mindset on your way to work. You leave an hour early and you take a super long walk and you go via a place you've never been before. Or maybe your goal is to be super successful, be someone that wakes up at 5 and that makes you feel really good. That is not somewhere you're going to get once you are successful, or when you have enough money, or when you get that job title, or when you have the time. It's a way to start living now, because if that's what's going to fulfill you, that is what you need to start doing in the here and now. And number 3, as always, is trust your own timing. Just because something hasn't happened to you yet doesn't mean it never will. Your life is unfolding at the exact pace that it's meant to. And I think sometimes, even if you don't believe things like that, even if you don't believe everything happens for a reason and what's meant for you won't pass you by and the universe has your back, even if that feels like a bunch of yippa yappa and you don't believe it and it's a bit too floaty for you, just try and believe it. Try and find peace in it. Try and find comfort in it, because there's literally no reason not to. What good is going around life believing that bad things happen to you and it's not going to work out for you? And I just don't know if I'm going to end up ever living the life that I want to live. I just don't believe that, this is what's meant for me and XYZ, and I don't believe I'm ever going to get it. It's like, what good is believing that doing for you? But what good is walking around life being like, yeah, everything that's meant for me actually won't pass me by. I'm not going to miss my husband if I don't go on this night out at the bar, or I'm going to miss, a job promotion if I don't do this one job task today and work late and start early and do whatever. Just trust the universe that your life really is going to be so fine. And when bad things come up, you'll work it out. and it will be okay. And maybe you're going to break up with the person that you thought you were going to marry, but I promise you now, it's okay. Everything is going to lead you on to bigger and better things, whether you feel like you're behind or not, whether you feel like maybe your whole world is going to come crashing down, or maybe you just feel stagnant. I promise you now, you will figure this out and you will have a happy life. I also think you might need to consume less, therefore compare less. I am a vlog watcher. I'm a vlog lover. I'm seriously obsessed with vlogs and podcasts. But recently I've kind of had to check myself and stop consuming other people's lives so much. Like, I will watch 4 hours of vlogs after I finish my work every day. And even though they're people I find really comforting, I still can't sometimes help but be like, wow, they look great. Their pajamas are so much cuter than mine. They've really got it all figured out. Their gym is so nice. Their this is so nice. Oh, they get filler. Maybe I should get filler. Yada, 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 yada. And I don't really realise it. Whereas if I put on Modern Family sometimes, if I see that, or I just put on music, or I'm not trying to always consume self-development podcasts and I stop myself and I start listening to music instead, or whatever it is that I start watching, I kind of realise that, oh, I was going into overdrive because I was consuming so much. Even though I'm not flicking TikTok or, something short like that, I'm still consuming other people's lives, whether it's vlogs or podcasts or something like that. It's still not like fictional and fun. It's other people's lives, and there's always something to compare. So, like I said, I didn't really realise it, and it doesn't make me really feel bad, but I definitely notice when I don't. Or I definitely notice if I'm having a not great day, how quickly it can make me feel worse, even if the vlog is super fun and super upbeat. Sometimes we're just not in the headspace to consume other people's lives so much. And like I said, half of the people online are quote unquote like in a better like financial position than you half the time anyway, because they're posting online, so they're probably influencers, so they're probably making a decent amount of money, so they probably have loads of free time to do loads of fun things. Their life isn't relatable to yours. So if you've had a crappy day at work and you're watching somebody who looks like they're having loads of fun, who looks like they quote unquote don't work very hard, I can confirm they absolutely do, and that's one of my pet peeves. But I can understand how, like, if I'm vlogging, I'm showing a fun day. I'm not showing me sat by my desk doing loads of work, dealing with hate comments, dealing with the shit parts of it. Do you know what I mean? You're watching the fun highlight parts of their life. You're thinking they've got it really easy and they can afford a house and do whatever. It's like, what the fuck? So sometimes that's not what you need. So sometimes just check in with how much you are consuming, and maybe find a fun fictional series, go and listen to your favourite music again. Just try and be in your own life a bit more. Like, maybe go and do something fun with your friends, and do you know what I mean? Just bring yourself into your own life and where you are in that moment, because you're not a constant self-improvement project. And sorry to be cringe, but life is here to be lived. And although, like you, I'm sure I want the best for myself in the future, I also think realising the best for yourself is actually just enjoying the journey. Like, it's so cringe, it's so cliche, but like I was saying, like, life really is the journey. It's not life is the everyday. It's not the big achievements. And I think once you really, I don't know, let that sink in and have a minute, you're like, oh yeah, because I'm saying I'm doing all of this so that, like, I'm set up and I'm successful. But what is that day you're working towards? You're working towards that day because then you think that every day from that point will be better. But really, you should just work on the everyday being better from now. Wouldn't that be nice and easy? I feel like I've talked about a lot of things now. I've talked about, like, being behind, but also comparison, also social media. But it's like the end of every meditation I listen to is like, and just know that this is coming to you in divine right timing. And it's so annoying, but my God, is it so true. Like, you really do never know what's around the corner. You have no idea how good your life is about to get, how good your life is going to be. Like, if only you could see all of the highlights that you would post on Instagram for the rest of your life, you would be so excited to live. So stop stressing about being behind, because what the fuck even is behind? Maybe that's what you need to think about. Why do you feel behind? Where is it coming from? Do you actually not just feel very happy day to day? Because that is a completely different thing. When I feel like I'm behind, it's because I feel like I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not successful enough. So really, I'm just not very happy. It's not the fact that I'm behind, it's the fact that I'm not loving my day to day. And that's the bit that you should be thinking about. So let me leave you with this. You are not behind. You are on your own path. Again, yawn, 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 yawn. But it really is just so annoyingly true. And I'm realising that more and more now. My friends who I thought had it all are becoming single, are starting new jobs. My friends who I think at home are so lucky to be around such familiar faces, and their parents and their friends are jealous of me. And it's just like, you always want what you can't have, and life is not linear, and everything will work out for you. And I cannot promise you that more. And like I said, what is working out for you? It's, again, you're dreaming of that one day in the future. Working out for you is like having a good life day to day. So if society is gaslighting you and making you feel like you're behind or not doing enough, ask yourself, do I even want what they think, what society is making me think I actually want? Maybe your higher self isn't on the traditional path. Maybe she's building something completely new and completely fun, and that is just as valid, and that is just as cool. And I would love to know if this episode resonated, if it's just, I know it's not just me, but if it's just me that overthinks these things so much and has so many thoughts about them and such an internal monologue. Yeah, I hope you loved the episode. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Wherever you're listening to this, thumbs up, that's only YouTube, but yeah. Follow if you're on Spotify, leave a review, comment down below if you're listening to it on YouTube, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I love you guys so much. Thank you for the support on the podcast relaunch, and I'm so excited to be chatting to you guys again. So I will see you next Sunday. Mwah. Bye. Love ya.